So it's not all like fuzzy or whatever. All right. So let me show you guys something. Okay, so I have quite a few videos here of recordings, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's deleted. There's no recordings. Library. Albums. Okay, recent. So I have a bunch of recordings. Now, let's talk about what happened. Let's move this to the side. So let's talk about what happened. They decided to have a hearing today and talk about extraterrestrials. The second hearing. You know, the first time they were just like, hey, there's extraterrestrials and we don't have any evidence, but we're admitting it's true and we're not even going to tell you. I'm sorry for like gaslighting you guys, but we're just going to say that. This is where I have a problem. This is where I have a problem.
To maintain oversight and be aware of these activities.
Here. Where is it?
To maintain.
No, that's not the one. Let's hear this.
That these UAPs provide an existential threat to the national security of the United States. Mr. Graves?
Potentially.
Yes, sir, potentially.
Same answer, potentially. Yeah, I'd say definitely, potentially.
Mr. Graves, if
definitely,
in the event.
Definitely, potentially. Do these UAPs, this phenomena pose a threat, an existential threat? No, is that what he said? Am I repeating it wrong? I want to get this right.
That these UAPs provide an existential threat to the national.
Yeah, existential threat. Okay. No, I did not see that one. All right. So they said many times that, okay, so I want to know how many of you guys believe this. Believe not the extraterrestrials. I want to know any of you guys if you believe that this is an existential threat because of all the evidence of them attacking us so many times. You know, they've attacked us, all of us. Didn't you guys get attacked last year? I got attacked by a couple of extraterrestrials last week. They just came up and I was like, oh shit. Yeah, it happens. I don't know if you could sense the sarcasm for those of you who don't know me. This is not I like that. To the government. Crystal, that is a good point. To the government, but not to us. Yes, the threat is the government. It's so funny that they're trying to distract us. But here's the thing. We all of a sudden have like AIs now. Like AI system, AI stuff. You're seeing it all over TikTok. There's like robots and you see the robots are talking with the AI. And one of the robots I just saw yesterday and she's like, I can feel, and this is an emotion. Blah, blah. You're not telling me they're not going to take those, put some sort of alien shaped, and all of a sudden I'm here sitting talking to you guys, and there's something that's walking across. We're like, aliens! And it's like some government crap. Those robots freak us out. So imagine if the robots freak us out. If they all of a sudden are going to come out and they're going to have a hearing with an extraterrestrial sitting there. And it's just going to be some AI robot talking like, rah, 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 rah. I'm from planet Zebon, whatever. And we're going to be like, And all of us are going to know. We're going to know. And we're going to be like, I feel like it's non-biologics or whatever the guy kept saying. And then there's another video.
To maintain oversight.
Hold on here.
Image. So I think that's a concern on what are these doing, not only how they operate, but their capabilities inside to do things like this.
And how should we think about four craft moving in a
Is it this one?
Multiple colleagues of mine that got physically injured.
And, that's the one. So I put this in the video I posted today, by the way, if you guys want to know. Did you hear what he said?
Multiple colleagues of mine that got physically injured.
Multiple colleagues.
And the activity...
by UAPs or by people within the federal government?
Did government people hurt you or
there
UAPs?
has been activity by alien.
He's a liar, by the way. I'm going to tell you which one's a liar.
Non-human technology and or beings that has caused harm to humans? I can't get into the specifics.
I can't tell you. He says both, but he's like, I can't.
Activity that I
do you realize?
Personally witnessed.
Look. Really grasp, because I was like, we have to listen to what he says, because he's being very vague, a lot of fluff going on. He's like, so you're saying government and UAPs, which is like unidentified phenomenon, whatever, aerial phenomenon, like those, both of them have caused harm to humans. And he says, yes. Like he says, yes. So he's like, so are you saying that they are harmful to humans? Have you witnessed it? Well, I can't talk about it. You just said yes. You could just say yes. Just reply with yes. And then here's the funny part, okay? Like, then
be very careful here. You don't, they tell you never to acknowledge tradecraft, right? So
then he
when
says,
I personally witnessed myself and my wife,
I personally, look. Should I repeat that? What I personally witnessed with myself and my wife was very disturbing. And then 3 minutes later, which I'm not going to play the whole thing, and I forgot to videotape, but you guys can go check it out. It's on like CBS and all those things. He says that he's trying to spread fear, 100%, Vivi. So he says after, I have never personally witnessed, he literally just said, my wife and I, what we personally was disturbing. Then 3 minutes later, he's like, I personally have not witnessed anything. I'm like, you just said you witnessed something. But then he's like, I could tell you, but not in front of people. Like, not, why? What, you can't say yes? You can't say yes? And here it is. I love, and you know what's funny? Here. So they're meeting in front of like government officials. And here's where I find it funny. Because I'm not pro-government, you know? But I like these government people. Because I was listening to them. And they're pissed off. They're like, hold on. One guy, I'm going to show you guys a video. One guy's like, what's up with the money? Like, we do one time we forget to do our taxes like a month or two. And all of a sudden it's like, if somebody even forgets a day to do their taxes, it's like the end of the world, whatever. But then the Pentagon, things like that, he's like, billions of dollars are lost. And he's like, I personally take care of it. What's up with that? What's going on? He's like super pissed off. They're all blowing smoke. Exactly. And then he says, the other guy, they kept saying that there's a threat. Like throughout the whole hearing, they kept bringing out a guy that's saying it's a threat. And then a few of the people were like they're government officials, which again, none of us are pro-government, but I felt like those people, hi Miko, again, every time I'm live. So those people are like, wait, something's wrong. He's like, so how are they a threat? And they're trying to ask them, and nobody can say. So you know what somebody said? Do I have it? I don't want to look.
Having said that, I'm going to take you to specific instances around the Phoenix Valley, because that's where
hold on.
We had the famous.
Oh yeah. So I'm not going to go through because I have about like 30 minutes of filming. And one of the guys, or actually two of the guys said, the threat that we had is that we were flying and we saw objects in formation coming around our craft, and suddenly all of our arms, we were disarmed. Like all the arms, everything shut down. I believe it's a threat. And I'm like, so because they stopped your guns, they're killers. Right. That makes sense. Of course. Oh no, aliens are preventing us from firing and killing people and our guns. Like, I was listening to this, I go, who is, and then you know what's funny? I was reading the comments and everybody was making fun. Like everybody, even on the live of the video of the live, people, it was a live chat. And like you guys, you know how you're writing? There were people writing and everybody was like, is this a joke? What's going on? They could be a threat. They're not a threat. There is zero proof of threat. They said that aliens have advanced technology, so advanced, like thousands of years advanced in technology, that they could kill us. If they're that advanced, they would have wiped us out instantly. We would not, if they wanted to take over the world, you think they're going to come down like, zzz, let me talk to your leader. Really? You guys are so advanced. You can disappear into thin air and reappear, and they're talking about they go into different dimensions. One of the guy was saying they might not be they might be from different they can split into a new dimension, and he even talks about that. We're talking about extraterrestrials, but we're also talking about AI. So if you don't believe in extraterrestrials at all, please, you're not going to join like this live, because if I believe that's a little bit egotistical or somewhat very we are the only humans in this vast universe of space. We're the only humans ever. We're the only living beings. If you fathom that, you might not like this live, because I find it almost narcissistic to say that only us, like in all the planets and all the universe, we're the only ones that are advanced, and we're not even advanced. We're like, right wing, left wing. And then there's like people that are like little things that we're seeing flying all around the place. Okay, so some people do have beliefs that some aliens, so that's, you do have a belief in aliens. So some have a belief in that aliens are demonic. So if you believe in demons and demonic things like that, also you may not resonate with this life, because we're not talking about, I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe in heaven and hell. I don't believe that I'm like, if you sin according to somebody that you burn in eternity, and then I don't believe in any of that stuff. So, but some do have different perspectives on extraterrestrials, like the Greys. I do believe there's extraterrestrials that are working with the government. I believe that. I do believe that there might be a level of extraterrestrial that is probably similar to humans with ego. The only people that would work with ego humans, maybe ego extraterrestrials. You know what I mean? Like, if that exists. And if they are ego extraterrestrials, that means they like power. Because people that have high ego and out of control and don't give a crap about other people, that's like too ego. They're like money, power, control. So if there's other extraterrestrial ego ones, could be. It's possible, right? I didn't call you narcissist. So I think you're getting a little triggered that you don't have to stay on my live. It's okay. You can go. There's like, I'm not, go on, look, I go, shoo, and there's like 100 million other lives on TikTok. You really don't have to stay. Anyways, but I did not call you. I said there's a narcissistic trait to, like, a very me. That's all I'm saying. But it wasn't you specific. I'm saying in general. Anyways, so what was I gonna say? Yeah. So this is a belief. So for many years, since I was little, my dad's been super into extraterrestrials. So he got me into extraterrestrials. And then I followed Stephen Greer for like 10 years. And then about 3 years ago, Gaia reached out to me. So those of you who don't know, Gaia.com. Gaia has information, which, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put that in my, here, I'll show you guys. I'm going to put it in my, you guys can watch it for free, this video here.
New humanoid species been discovered in the mountains near Nazca, Peru.
We are living in a very exciting moment. This is pure history in the making.
This is like 3 or 4 years ago.
Working around the world proven that the Nazca mummies are genuine.
The results strongly support that these...
You know the Nazca mummies that just came out? Like, Nazca mummies just came out like 4 days ago. And everybody's talking about CNN, all the news, people on TikTok. Oh my God, the mummies, the extraterrestrials. This came out in 2017. And the, what was I going to say? The mummies Gaia did like a whole research on them. And there's a whole video about them here. If you guys want to know.
Known organism on Earth.
Is there a concerted effort to discredit and deny the
Hi, Lakes. So, it wasn't working. My YouTube is not working for those of you who joined YouTube. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do that now. If you guys want, so I'm a guy, I work with Gaia. Okay. Here, unearthing. I'm going to share it with you guys for free. Here, first episode 1. Share. How do I do this? Copy. I'm going to put it in the link in my bio so you guys can go and save it. How do I do that? Linktree. I'm going to do that right now for you guys. So if you guys want to see this stuff, you guys can watch this. And it's Gaia had this information for the longest time. Came out, I think they came out with this in like either 2018, 2019. Here. So I'm going to add link to, all right, alien. Alien. I'll just write alien for now so you guys will see it. Okay. There you go. Paste, add. Okay, so it's going to say aliens, the complete story. No, it just says, okay, the complete story. There you go. It already wrote it. Unearthing Nazca. Okay. So if you guys go into the link in my bio, I gave you guys a free video. It's free for, I think, 48 hours or something. So you guys can watch it in the next, like this weekend. Actually, I have all weekend. Even after 48 hours, if you type in your email, you don't pay for it or anything. And you can watch the whole episode on those little extraterrestrials that are found. And you'll hear the real story. You won't hear some government whatever trying to tell you like, oh, we just suddenly found this and this is whatever. Hello, fellow Canadian. So, yeah, you guys can check that out because it'll tell you which bio on TikTok. I just put it to the link in bio. So it's in my link tree. So the first thing, it's going to say discovering Azka or something like that. And you guys can click on it, watch it. You can share it with people, whatever. It's free for a certain amount of time. I don't know how long. It could be like a week or so. But I know they're limiting their thing, but they're only giving the first episode, which I'm not sure how long it is, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You guys can watch that first one for free. Actually get an idea to like the real studying behind it, right? So here's what I want to show you. Yeah. So today the hearing, I watched the hearing so you guys don't have to. Don't watch the hearing. I was like, I want to watch the hearing. I want to get ahead of the game. I'm going to see what they have to say. They had no proof. One guy said to the guy, he goes, you know, we have satellites all over the place. Satellites that can zoom into anything very specific, that can see anything. And you're telling me we don't have evidence of like video or picture evidence? And the guy's like, we are not at liberty to disclose that. And I was like, you're there telling them, why can't you show evidence? Like, why do you just 3 guys keep showing up? And here's my theory. And it's not only my theory. For those of you guys know Stephen Greer, it's not just my theory. I believe they are going to take robots and put the little AI into the robots, and they're going to disguise them as extraterrestrials. And all of a sudden, me and you, we're going to be walking around. They're going to say, okay, you guys are ready? We're going to disclose these extraterrestrials. And then you're going to have this alien, like AI alien sitting with them. And we're going to be like, ah. And there's so many people that are going to be scared because it's like a creature, like it's different than us. And we've never seen this. And there's fear controls. Fear makes you want to stay at home, not go to work. You know, not when you don't go to work, you don't make money. Then you get less money. And then the rich people are going to have more money. Or you do, like there's all some sort of scamming way to control, because you can't control people who laugh at you. Like people who kind of don't believe you and they kind of take it as a joke, there's no controlling. Because if somebody is really, really scared, now I'm going to trigger some people with this, okay? No, I don't even want to bring this up. I was going to bring something up. I'm not going to bring it up because I don't want to upset people on my live, because I know that people are very divided in certain things. But I don't believe one side or another side in anything. I think there's a middle ground to not feel fear. Bring it on. You guys want to hear it? You want to hear my real fake disclosure? Exactly. You guys do want to get, but some of you guys are going to get triggered. I know some people are going to get very angry at me. Whatever. You know what's funny? I was thinking about that recently. I was like, fuck, I've been talking a lot on my videos recently, a little more like, straightforward. Yeah, they were talking about the spy balloon, actually. It's okay. All right. So here we are. I've made videos about this last year. There's two extremes to COVID. Two extremes to COVID vaccine. Okay. I'm not talking about all vaccines. I'm talking about specifically COVID vaccine. There are two extreme sides to COVID vaccines. There are people who want the vaccine and want all of the boosters because they are scared to die from COVID. Okay, that is the fear. They don't want COVID. They don't want to die. They don't want to spread it because they just don't want to kill other people. So that's the extreme of like, they want to get all the vaccines. They want to wear the mask all the time. They're like, I'm very scared of COVID. The other extreme is they hate the COVID vaccine and they will get mad at everybody who takes the vaccine because they are scared of the side effects of the vaccine. So they also have an extreme fear of the, maybe not just side effects, they either believe there's 5G, whatever they believe, maybe some of it is true, maybe it's not, but whatever they believe, they are so extreme that they're scared of the side effects. So they get mad. And I've had people in my family, my aunt called my mom crying. And she was like, you took the vaccine? Oh, sorry. I wasn't supposed to disclose. But my mom did. The first round, she was like, and my stepfather got COVID and he almost died. Like he really almost, he was on the ventilator. And he's an old guy. He has a low immune system. He's like one of those guys and he almost died. He was one of the first. And my mom was like super scared because she was like, I don't want to die either. Da, da, da. So she got the vaccine and then she's like, but my mom was like in the middle. She's like, maybe I'll just get one. I don't know. I don't know if I trust vaccines yet. I don't know. Like she was kind of like, she wasn't an extreme person, right? And some people will say completely on the other side. So my aunt called my mom crying. I can't believe you got the vaccine. You're doing that to your body. Do you know what you're doing to your body? Do you know what's in that? And like, I had compassion for my aunt and I had compassion for my friends who were super scared to not take it. So some people see brainwashed. That's an extreme. Purple, brainwashed. If you are saying, I'm not taking the vaccine, I'm not brainwashed people don't take the vaccine. That's a judgment. And I wrote a book about self-projection. I would highly suggest it. Judging other people for making a choice. And you're saying, I'm not brainwashed. That means you're calling people brainwashed. People who take the vaccine, maybe they don't care and they're just like, whatever. Some people who took the vaccine were just like, whether I take it or not. But calling somebody like, I'm not brainwashed and judging other people for their choices. And if people judged you for not taking it, that sucks too. I think that sucks. People shouldn't be judging anybody on each other's choices. I think each has their choice. That's like super, super important. But not everybody has hate against you. It's the extremes. So if you say brainwash, you might be a little bit on the extreme of anti-vaxxer versus the people who are extreme pro. There's a lot of people in the middle. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are all like, there's a lot of people in the middle that are like, I got it, but I don't like, I think that everybody should make their own choice. And some people say, I didn't get it, but I think if you want it, get it. Like, I think that's the middle people. There's a bunch of little middle people that are not like, but I notice, and this is somebody that works at one of the highest vaccinations. She was a client of mine for maybe 15 years, and she worked in the vaccination. She handed out vaccines. And she said, the one thing I noticed is that pro-vaxxers, like extreme pro-vaxxers and extreme anti-vaxxers are the loudest. So there may not be as many, but they're the loudest, the ones in the extreme. Some people are pro, but they're like, meh, yeah, I'll get it, but whatever, you do you. I'm not going to get it, you do you. Like there's a lot of those, but they're not loud. They don't talk about it because they're just like, whatever, I don't care. But the two people who says, you're a sheep, you're following, you're brainwashed, first of all, sheep are fucking cute. Okay? I would love to be a sheep. They are the cutest little things. I could be a wolf too. Wolves are really nice, but sheeps are fucking cute. Who cares if you're a sheep or not? That's why when people call other people sheep, I'm like, what are you implying? You know what I mean? But at the same time, is it bad to be a sheep? Bah, I don't care. I'll be a sheep. I don't care. Or I'll not be a sheep. I'll be a wolf sometimes. Sometimes I'm a sheep. Depends on my mood. Whatever. So the reason I'm bringing this up, yeah, it's my little Miko. So that's why I wrote the book. Where is, I don't have the copy here. So my book up there that's far away, it's How to Own Your Shit, Mastering Self-Projection. It's what you see in others, a reflection of you. The black sheep, there you go. If you're the black sheep in your family. So if you are at two extremes, if you are judging people that got vaccinated and you're judging people that didn't yet, like the massive, massive extremes here that are just like attacking each other, because the middle people are like, meh, whatever. And then the two extremes are like fighting. When you become so extreme, it's because you have a fear. And some people says, like, I'm not brainwashed, I'm not a sheep, but you're scared. First of all, that means maybe you're scared to be a sheep. Are you scared to follow? Maybe like not follow like what a bunch of people are doing? Is there some reason that you have to go against? Okay, maybe that's a fear. Maybe not. Maybe it could be something else. I would urge you to self-reflect and say, why am I so scared? And here's the cool part. When you become and you find out why you're so scared, because you don't judge other people when you realize that fear cannot control you. And you will say they're sheep, they're following the herd. You're following another herd of sheep. The sheep that are not getting vaccinated. Like we're all just a bunch of sheep in this world. Just like vaccinated, not vaccinated. It's like I'm against the grain. There's a whole bunch of people that are against the grain. Yeah, just do you. There's a lot of people. So I would urge you, if you feel I call him Miko Escobar. Call him Escobar because you know what? Pablo Escobar was not scared of anything. He's not scared. He's fazed by nothing. Anyways, side note. So I would urge you to self-reflect, and this could help you. I'm telling you, it could help you with your relationship with yourself. It could help you with your relationship with others. You can literally start going, oh my God, when you start saying, why am I so scared to not get the vaccine? I'll give you both examples, okay? So why am I so scared to not get the vaccine? Because it's a fear. If you're shaming other people for getting it, that means there's a fear. It's not coming from love of saying, you know what, I'll make the choice from me. And then are you scared of the side effects of COVID or are you scared of the side effects of the vaccine? You know what I mean? Like, which one is it? It's both fear. So just kind of like you self-reflect, and I'm telling you, you start having a better relationship with yourself because you're listening to your fears and you get less emotional reactions. Like you'll get less upset at everybody that's doing something that you're not doing. It's like, listen to me. I know best. This is what's best for me. It's the same as like religions or spiritual beliefs. If you are in a spiritual, either religious or spiritual, I think religions and spirituality, I think it's really nice. I personally think that if you believe in something that makes you feel very loving and happy, that's great. But when you start getting angry that I don't believe what you believe, it's actually, there's a name for that in my book, and I call it, hold on, I'm going to get the exact definition. Hold on, here, right here. I have it. I'll read it to you. It's a type of self-projection. Okay, so there's the first one is an emotional self-projection. The second one is a presumption self-projection, becoming self-aware. I talk about self-aware here. Oh no, that's not right. Okay. So emotional self-projection is what I see in you is what I feel about me. So if I think you're stupid, maybe I think I'm stupid. If you call people stupid, part of you may think you're stupid. So give you an example of like Oprah, for example. Oprah's like, everybody is unhappy. She thinks that everybody's unhappy and that's why everybody's like upset with her. She's like, everybody's unhappy. And then she's trying to sell a book about how to be happy. That's a self-projection. She probably has some unhappiness in her without the money, maybe. Maybe without the money, she'll feel unhappy, or without certain amount of things, she'll feel unhappy, and then she projects it. So that's something that you feel. Presumption self-projection is when you presume that others possess the same feelings as you, kind of like with the vaccine. So it says, it becomes evident when you experience a triggered response when someone disagrees with our beliefs, our values, as we expect them to share the same emotional state. If I don't get vaccinated, I don't think anybody should become sheep vaccinated. If you get an emotional response that somebody is not following what you're doing, that's called a presumption self-projection. So if you are someone who got vaccinated and you don't care if people do or don't, that's cool. If you don't have an emotional charge, you're not projecting. You're just like, you do you. Exactly what you're saying. But if you, let's say you did get it, and then you get mad, because there's a lot of people that got vaccinated and they'll get mad at the people who don't. And they're like, but technically the vaccine protects you. We all kind of know that's not true now. Even the vaccinated people know it's not true. So it says, I assume you are feeling what I am feeling. It is important to note that this type resides, that's not important for you guys. Yeah, so it's, they believe, people who presumption self-projections, they believe you should share the same opinions. Sports teams, like, you're into this team? No, that's a bad team. And if you get angry, it's okay to like think that. But if you get angry that somebody's in a different sports team, that's presumption self-projection. Religious, political views, any type of views that are not your views. And here, this is a close-up of the book, Mastering Self-Projection. So it's that. So going back to aliens, no, going back to it, is that what I see in the world right now is the people who are so extreme anti-vaxxer and pro-vaxxer, the extreme people, what they were doing is they're living in fear. And what the people in high places, when they're coming out with these extraterrestrials, they want to all of a sudden, they want you to fear. And it doesn't matter if they want you to fear the government, if they want you to fear the aliens, if they want you to fear something. So if you are anti something, like think about religious, you know how easy it is to control people that believe that if you are not like this, you're going to hell. Like if you believe that grays are demonic, like certain type, like the lady said, some of the extraterrestrials are demonic. Fear. Like fear is the opposite of love. When you cannot and love can be very peaceful. And finding inner peace is knowing that nothing can control you, because you kind of surrender to whatever the fuck is happening in the world. When you are at peace, that means that when you're sad, you're peaceful. When you're angry, you're still kind of peaceful. Maybe temporarily not, but then after that, after you get angry, if you find the balance, you become peaceful, because love equals peace. So if you start learning to love yourself on your highs and your lows, love other people, say, listen, I don't love everybody else, but I respect that they have different, opinions or different viewpoints about politics, about things like that. If everybody has just different views, it's the extremists of political, religious, anything, even in the spiritual community, there are people who are so extreme, even the New Age spiritual movement with the like soul contracts and the this, and I know this, what it, and you get very angry at religious people. If you are someone who is broke free of religion and then you're spiritual and you're like, screw religion, fuck religion, you're literally, you fear that feeling of control of religion, but you're doing the same thing. So if you have an emotional charge to anything, that's what they want, guys. That's what they love that. They love, do you know when I say they, I hope you guys know what I mean, but they love people who believe in conspiracy theories. If you believe in conspiracies, I believe in conspiracies. I totally believe in conspiracies. I don't even think they're conspiracies. I think they're factual. Anyways, that's my thing. But I believe it. I talk about actually everything I'm saying. I kind of talk about it in my book. I used to really go in to like try to change people's beliefs. I'm like, do you know what's going on in the world? The 1%, Illuminati. I was like really into it. And I was trying to tell people about it. And I realized that's fear. I was fearing the government. Before I had to follow the government. And now I just fear the government. Like I fear the people in power. I was fearing that because I was trying to like change everybody's mind. So here I am arguing with people, having heated discussions about chemtrails, about this, about, and I realized I go, what the fuck am I doing? They love that because you're fighting with people. You're disagreeing. So they want people to fight and to get super conspiracy. Not like they want you to take conspiracies and go so deep and saying like really, really bad and getting so sad and so angry at everybody because anger, they're like, okay, if they're angry, they're not happy. And if they're not happy, they don't want to go to work. If they don't want to go to work, the poor are going to get poorer and the rich are going to get richer. But this is exactly talking about extraterrestrials. So the plan that I feel that they are going to do is they want to create more and more fear with everybody. They want to create the fear. They want to bring it up. They want to let everybody either be super extreme right, super extreme left, super on one side, super on the other. Whatever culture you are, you got to divide cultures. You got to divide the human race. We got to have the sheep and the wolves. And if you, by the way, you know how when you see Oprah and you're like, a lot of people are like, fuck Oprah. Like, what did she do? She's not even realizing, she doesn't care. She's a multimillionaire. Do you know what millionaires say? Do you know what they say? I am a wolf amongst the sheep. They believe that all of us are these little sheep and they're the wolves. They believe, I heard this. I was around millionaires and and there was a billionaire that I was listening to talk. And he was saying, be the eagle that flies all, like, don't be a pigeon. Because when a pigeon, they fly in the crab, they fly around, they're always staying around. The eagle flies above everything. Be the eagle. Do you know how ego that is? It's saying be better than everybody. Be above everybody else. Be a better. Pigeons are cute. I had 2 pigeons that tried to make a nest in my house when we were doing construction. And their little babies died and their nest fell down and it was really sad. And they kept looking at us and they went, ooh, ooh, ooh. And it was so cute. Pigeons are cute. I know they're annoying sometimes because they poop everywhere, but they're really cute. I could be a pigeon. I could also, some days I'm an eagle. Some moments I'm an eagle. Some moments I'm a pigeon. I am everything and everything is me. And I don't care. But what it is, if you think that by not getting vaccinated, you are like better than people, you are the wolf amongst the sheep, you are the eagle, you're basically being like Oprah. You're being like, I'm better than people. And in the end, we're all human. We all take a shit unless you have some, constipation issues or specific issues. Like we all are human. We're on Earth. You get us naked in the middle of a field and there's nothing we can do. We're all like, a bug is going to bite us. You're not exempt of getting bitten by a mosquito unless you have a different type of blood type and you're not. Anyways, that's different. But what I'm saying is that freedom of choice. Exactly. Joe just finished to conclude it. The reason I'm bringing this up with extraterrestrials and aliens, the reason I'm talking about this is because they are going to do something that will divide us with the aliens. When they come out with these AI aliens that are, oh, look, and then look, the UFOs, and it's not really UFOs, because if extraterrestrials wanted to kill us, they would have done it. If they were a threat to the earth and to society and to humanity, they would have done it. But look, somebody came on my live and said, the Greys are demons and they're, and blah, 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 blah. And they started saying that. She started saying this in my live. And that's why I said, maybe you want to get out of my live. I don't think this is the live for you, because what happens is that is fear-based. If you believe that aliens are going to come or this person, and you're angry, and you see how I said it's almost narcissistic to think that we're the only beings in the whole multiverse, not a universe. There's multiverse. There's not just a universe. The universe is even expanding. We're the only beings. She's like, are you calling me narcissist? I was like, no. Like in big, she wrote, are you and I was like, no, I'm saying it's very ego to think we're the only things. And I think people who are angry like that, who have an emotional reaction, is that is a self-projection. Because if you are not happy within yourself because you're living in fear, other people can control your reactions. Any of you guys, I could say something right now that can trigger some people. That means just my word. You don't even know who I am. You've never, maybe some of you have, but some of you, most of you have not physically met me and don't know me exactly, right? As I am. And you meet me and you're hearing me and you could get full on triggered by somebody that you don't even know on a live on TikTok. If somebody else is controlling your emotional responses to things, is because there's a fear in you. And I would urge you to go into that fear and give it love. And don't forget other people, forget me, forget what I'm saying, and say, why do I have this emotional? Why is it so upsetting to me that when people disagree with my beliefs, whatever I believe in? Do you know what I mean? If there's now, the only thing, I think there's a fine line. If I get upset when other people are physically hurt or attacked, in, what can I say, or I don't want to say the words that I don't want my life to get, but I do think that there's a limit to that, where maybe I am going to get upset of something that is hurt. I am going to get an emotional reaction when I see another human being hurting another human being. And I'm like, hey, that's not okay. But if we have it's okay to have an emotional reaction to things. But my reaction is an awareness of me. It's okay. Have the reaction, get upset. It's okay. We're human. We can't just go all the time. Oh, hello everybody, my darling. You're then it's passive aggressive. Everybody has negative feelings. So have the feeling, whether you're anti or pro-vaxxer, whether you're anti or pro-aliens, have the emotional reaction, whether you're right, left, whatever. I'm in Canada. We don't have these super extreme right, left, but I do see it on TikTok. But whatever religious beliefs you have and everything, have the reaction. And then you could stop yourself and go, oh, well, what's that about? Hold on. Why am I so upset? And you ask yourself, what am I so upset? It's okay that I'm upset. It's okay to feel. It's okay to feel this. If you start validating your feelings and going into the fear, your fear will not spill onto others, because you're taking the fear and you're giving it love. It's imagine a room of darkness. Okay. It's a cleaning. Oh, I like that cleansing process. So imagine the whole room's dark. Okay. That's your fear. You walk into a room, it is pitch black. It's scary. You're like, what the fuck? You don't know what's in the room. You don't know what's around you. If you validate and you give yourself love, you don't start screaming in the room and you're like, oh my God, what's in the room? If you start screaming, it just creates more fear. If you say, it's okay to feel, it's okay to have these feelings. Why am I scared? Why am I so upset? Why am I so upset at somebody that doesn't believe what I believe or doesn't feel what I feel? I'm telling you, it is lighting a match in the dark room. And if you've ever lit a match in the dark room, the whole room kind of slowly lights up. And then all of a sudden, hi, Wilo. And then all of a sudden, when you not just light the match, but you light everything around, it's like the more love you give yourself. And now your love starts spilling onto other people. And you're saying, I believe this, but it's okay to believe what you believe. It's fine. If people don't believe in something, it's okay. I have opinions about it. I have beliefs about it. But I don't expect the whole world to feel like I feel. We have different upbringings. We have different thought processes and neural networks. We have a whole different thing. So for those of you who don't believe in aliens or fear of aliens, just remember, fear is what they want. They want you to be scared because they can control us if they're scared, if we're scared. When people are scared, they laugh. Meanwhile, the billionaires and millionaires are getting richer while the little people are fighting right wing, left wing, politics, vaccine, and they're laughing. And they're sitting up there making their money, counting their money, and everybody's fighting, and they're just they want that. They want it. You've seen an alien? I believe it. I believe it. I know someone who saw an a UFO. And that was funny. It is part of the plan. They want to divide, because when you divide people of this against this, that against that, they're just trying to divide everybody. They try to push things out to make people go. So if they push out something that triggers people and they see, oh, people are fighting, they're not going to pay attention to what we're doing. But when they start pulling out this extraterrestrials, people are going to fight online. And they're going to say, oh, no, I believe in this. No, you don't believe in that. I don't believe in this. And I have to tell you, it's going to be exhausting if we fight again. We have fought for too long, guys. And I think for the first time ever, billionaires, multimillionaires, celebrities with millions of dollars are kind of like, the real shit is coming out. And everybody's like, oh, and everybody's starting to unite. Because they're like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel good. And I realized when I made the video about Oprah saying that billionaires don't give a shit about us. They really don't. Like us making videos, they're not even watching it. They don't care. They don't care. They're sitting on their money. They're like, oh, those little negative people. They're so negative. They're haters. Those hater negative people. I've heard people say this. It's really sad. It's sad. But I've heard many people say this. That's amazing, Lakes. Lakes. It's funny to call you Lakes on this. The biggest fear, yes. So what I liked, I don't know who said this before, but they said, you know how they said extraterrestrials are a threat to the human. And somebody, I forgot who wrote, but said, they're not a threat to humans. They're a threat to the government. That's what they are. They're like, you guys in power and trying to that's what we see. But there's a lot of people that are conspiracy extremists that are pushing this narrative of extraterrestrials that are going to brainwash your mind, and they're demonic, and they're I heard about this in, what was it, 2007, 2008. I heard about the what's it called, the reptilians. That's the first time I heard about it. And it was an ex of mine who was really conspiracy, and he was like, there's reptilians in Hollywood. And I was like, reptilians, what are you talking about? And he started telling me, he's like, that you could see it with the eyes. So then we met up with this guy, and he passed away, but he was a friend of the family. And he said that the reptilian theory came out in when he was young. He's like, this came out I heard it in the 80s. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, in 1980s we were talking about how there were reptiles, because we have reptilian in our brain. We have a reptilian brain. If you guys just check out science, if any of you guys have studied the brain, we do have a reptilian part of the brain. So they're like, they mated with the humans. Da, da, da. Actually, that's believable. Maybe we did mate and came out human. Who knows what happened? That is a possibility I wouldn't, set aside. But I like to go, maybe. Yeah, maybe I would believe in that. So they were talking about these reptilians and this and that. But I realized, let's say it's true. Let's say there's reptilians and they're there, and everybody's like, oh my God, you got into this reptilians in the government. They're working with the government. They're not real. And they take on the body of this thing, and then they're like, and they glitch. And if it's true, what can we do? There's nothing we can do about it. There is nothing we can do. If it's true, we're just sitting here reptilians. And then what? And then what? That's why I say stop going into the fear of oh my God, it's a reptilian. You guys know, you see it. Oh my God. And you're trying to convince everyone. And you're like, okay, what if it's true? What if we switch dimensions and some of us went into this reality and other people went into that, and then we left our old reality and we're shifted into a glitch in the matrix? What if we're in the matrix? What if we are AIs? I made a video about this 2 years ago. I was saying, what if we are the AIs? But we're so advanced that we're biological AIs. And then now AIs are coming in and they're like, hey, you're the old version of us. This is the new upgraded version of AIs, because our AIs are like, vaccines. Don't get it. Yeah. I hate politics. I'm like, we're not as advanced as we could be. So they're like, and then I just heard too, and I was laughing. I just heard that Elon Musk, this is a true fact. You guys can check out YouTube. There's full of videos of him saying that he invested millions of dollars in maybe billions, who knows, in a technology that we get like a chip that we could put in our brain that could, it's like, it's like Amazon in our brain, kind of like we could order things. It'll give us, Google, Alexa, Google, yeah, in our brain. It's like we have an Alexa, a chip in our brain. So if we want an answer, instead of typing it, because you get thumb cramps. When you're typing all day, you're holding your phone, you get like thumb cramps. Well, you're gonna get brain cramps. You have the option. So apparently he invested millions, and he was talking about it on the video, and he was like, I realized how scary it was. He said it. Elon Musk said, it's too scary. I wanted to like pull out of it, but now the technology's already out there. He's like, I wanted to be the first one to do it, but now that I'm doing it, I realize it's not such a good idea. So I was like, yeah, so maybe we're AIs. We're just very like, who knows? But whatever it is, let's say everything I'm telling you is crap, or what if it's true? What can we do? Nothing. We can't do anything about it. There's nothing that we can do about this. So in the end, just try to find why you're scared. That's kind of like the reason of, just figure it out. If you go to fight with someone, ask yourself, why do I want to fight? And it's funny because a few times online, I don't really get triggered much or get upset about certain things and I get into it. But when I do, you guys can see it. Last year, I think it was this year. I don't know if you guys know Teal Swan. Teal Swan came out, the documentary came out on Teal Swan. I didn't even know she was coming out with a documentary, but she came out. And I was following Teal Swan at that point. I was following her because some of her videos in the past, I liked what she said. I was like, they're good messages of what she's talking about. I get messages, hey, you're in Teal Swan's documentary. I'm like, what? Your video, they took it, they put it in Teal Swan's documentary. I'm like, oh no, because I know how people feel about Teal Swan. I know the whole thing, right, Miko? Yeah, see, he knows. Yeah, I know. Are you a fan of Teal? No, maybe? Anyways, so they put me in the documentary. Oh, he's going to walk right in front of you guys. Here we go. So anyhow, and then the cat butt, obviously. So I watched the documentary and I'm like, oh no. And then I could see certain things and I was getting kind of triggered because I was like, first of all, I was triggered because I saw Teal Swan, like I'm really in, obviously, mastering self-projection. I'm really into self-projection. And I was like, this is a girl who I've been following for a while and who I like. I'm like, does that make me a bit, and like people were saying she's narcissistic, she's vicious, she's mean, and she wasn't kind. We can't say she was kind in there. And she was a little bit like God complex, And I saw a video about her and somebody said God complex. I'm like, I could see that. But then I was like, oh my God, it's a self-projection. What am I projecting? And I was starting to analyze. So I was getting really into it. She's like this spiritual leader. And I used to think she was really cool, but now I'm like, there's a lot of like ego and she's a self-proclaimed prophet kind of person. Not prophet, but she's a self-proclaimed new age person that she said people should put on a pedestal. She says that about herself, that people should see me as above because I know more things than I am like that. And I am some angelic, blah, blah, blah. And when I heard that, I was like, oh shit. Oh, no. I don't like that. Yeah, she doesn't call herself a light worker because she's really into shadow work and stuff like that. So she just calls herself, I forgot what it is, but she says that people should be like kind of not bowing to her, but kind of like that. So I was like, oh shit. And I realized people who, like, let's say Oprah, people who put people on pedestals, they will go onto the pedestal. They get to choose if they want to step on that pedestal Because a lot of people treat Oprah very differently, and they see her as like, oh, Oprah, so billion, you're the best. Nobody talks against her, all her friends, everything. So you put on a pedestal, and then you kind of step up on the pedestal and be like, oh, I am a person of the people, you know? So you kind of take that. Same with Teal Swan. It's like people will put you on a pedestal. You decide if you want to go on that pedestal or not. You can choose every day to say, wait a minute. It's hard sometimes when you get into the millions, or I've seen people. I was friends with someone. I'm not going to go too much detail because I do very much respect her, but she was a multi-millionaire and she was one of my best friends. And she was very down to earth, very, very down to earth. And people would tell her to not be friends with me because I wasn't a millionaire. She's like, why are you friends with her? People would tell her, people close to her would tell her to not listen to me. I have nothing important to say. Why is she hanging out with me? Because I was not like at the status. So you have to be you want to be, you know, they say that you are like the 5 people you hang around with most. And they're like, don't hang around Tanya, blah, 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 blah. But she was very much down to earth. And she had a lot of like humble, great things about her. And, but I could see how hard it was for her because I would stop, people would ask for her autograph. People would go, oh my God. And they would really like, and I'd be with her and she would hate it. And she would be like, oh, this is awkward. I'm sorry. So she didn't want to go on the pedestal, but I do believe eventually you kind of just step on. I'm not sure now. We haven't spoken in a long time. She moved far away. It was a long story, but I believe that at one point, people get on the pedestal unless they kind of like have to sit there and be self-aware. Do you understand? So it's like, yeah, I was a friend. We were good friends. Just a very kind-hearted person. But when people treat you a certain kind of way, that's why I've seen, like, I've been really, really poor. And then I've been financially okay, not for very long actually. And then I've been like in the middle. I've been all over the place. I've been around very, very, very poor people. I've been around very, very, very rich people. I was in 2 extreme cases in my life. And I lived, at one point we were super poor, and then we'd go visit someone who is a multi-millionaire. She owned McDonald's, like a couple of McDonald's. And I remember going there and being in a different reality and sitting there and listening to these people talk. And it's crazy how different it is. And what I liked online recently, everybody is uniting and saying, wait a minute, this, the fact that 1% of people have 99% of the wealth is not cool. It's not right. That 1% of the people have 99% of like the poverty. We have nothing. 99% of the people have 1% of the wealth, and 1% of people have 99% of the wealth. And there is more multimillionaires and billionaires now than there's ever been, because I believe a lot of it's not our fault. I don't think it's our fault. I think it's somebody else that kind of gaslit us to fighting. But I think they found a way to fight. They're trying to use the internet to say, we're going to push some narratives. We're going to push right and we're going to push left. We're going to push up, we're going to push down. And we're going to do these things. And when you believe that if you don't want to get vaccinated, you're a sheep to other people. If you want to get vaccinated, get mad at the people. So then if you'd watch the news, you'd have somebody on the news going, can you believe those people who don't get vaccinated, don't wear masks? You know what? We got to fight them. So then people are watching, like, yeah. And then you have people who goes, can you believe that people getting vaccinated? They're sheep. They are sheep. They're some people, they're 5G, they're this, they're putting chemicals in their body. They have no idea that can transfer on to their children. Oh my God, don't put that in your children. Ah! And then these two are like, yeah. Meanwhile, the fucking rich people are like, look at them fight. They don't give a shit about us. Everybody's just fighting. They want that. They want it. And that's why I started my page. When I was seeing the chaos online, I was like, I started my page to create like a unified middle ground of saying, this is, make up your own opinion and don't shame other people who don't have your opinion. It's hard. We want other people to, yeah, we're peasants. To them, they were laughing. They're like, everybody's just fighting. Divide and conquer. Exactly. She's saying that they're united. I know. So if we can find a way, and the reason I have my page, the reason I wrote my book is to self-reflect. So don't take your shit out on others. If you are angry at somebody else that doesn't believe what you believe, self-reflect. I believe self-projection can take away all the fears. I have done this. When I found out about self-projection and I started owning my shit, and I'll give you guys an example. My daughter said to me, she says, Mom, I was sitting in the bus. She said this to me this morning. Okay, I was sitting in the car. She goes, Mom, I was sitting in the bus and I was in a really bad mood. Like really bad mood. Ooh, that's a good question. Would you want to be a millionaire? Well, let's talk about that after. That's a good question. So she said, I was in a really bad mood. I had a long day. I wasn't feeling good. I didn't eat for a while because she had like a long class. And she goes, and I was looking at people and she goes, I noticed myself going like, what is she wearing? What is she doing? What is he doing? Like, why is he sitting like that? Ew, what? That doesn't matter. And she, right away, my daughter is very self-aware. So she goes, Mom, I noticed myself judging. And she goes, right away, I knew it's because I didn't feel good. So she goes, I said to myself, I was like, okay, I'm obviously not feeling good because I wouldn't be able to judge other people. Like if I felt good, I would look at everybody, oh, everybody's so nice. I heard it. Like you kind of walk around with rose-colored glasses when you're in a good mood. She goes, because I was such in a bad mood, I was noticing the bad. So she goes, I noticed I was self-projecting, Mom, all over the place. So she goes, every time I looked at someone and I said, ew, and I projected, she goes, I kept thinking of why I feel like that about myself. If I'm looking at someone and saying, I don't like the skin or the nose, is there something about me that I don't like? Or why do I criticize? And then she said, she goes, after I did that and I recognized my self-projection, I started switching it because she was like an hour in the bus apparently. She goes, I switched it and I started trying to recognize all the nice things about people. So she goes, I would look at people and say, oh, nice earrings. Or one person had like nice eye color or and she said, I started to like really look and I go, you know what's, and I told her, and she goes, I know, Mom, I know. I was like, it's not about being perfect. It's just about being aware because she didn't project, she didn't meh on people. She doesn't fight. Yes, because we're all unique. We all have our things. We all have the ups and downs and we have our stuff. But if we stop looking at other people and judging their decisions, not necessarily what they look like, because some people don't. I know some people are like, I don't judge people's physical appearance. No, but you judge their decisions. If they want to be religious, you judge them for being religious. If they want to be spiritual, if you're a religious person and somebody doesn't believe, like me, I get judged all the time for not believing in the mainstream God idea and the heaven and hell. I don't believe. I was raised Catholic, was born and raised into that. I don't believe in it. And people get mad at me. And I said, what? And I always ask, what makes you upset about it? Like if I meet someone, I talk to someone, I'm like, what is triggering about me not believing in that? Well, then you're going to go to hell, and you're not going to. And I go, but why does that bother you? What is it about you? And who says it's not God's plan? If you're religious, who says it's not God's plan for me to not and then whatever? In the end, like we're just. And if you don't believe, and then you're fighting people that are religious, you're doing the same thing. So it's about self-reflection because people care about you and want to help you. Yes, Bambina, I agree. I think that when we care about others, we don't want to see people suffer. And if you're going to hell, they think you're going to suffer. But when you care about someone, you have to say, I care, and I also care about your decisions and your choices. If you see someone suffering and you judge them, that's not love. That's compassion. That's not That's not love, that's judgment. That's not compassion, that's criticism. And you are changing, you're trying to control other people. When we try to control others is because we feel like that's good for their life. What is good for my life is good for your life. It is not. It's not. What's good for my life may be not good for somebody else's life. And what's good for someone else's life may not be good for our life. Yes, and you respect, exactly. If you care about someone and you're getting upset because of their decisions and because of what they're doing, you're trying to control their life. You're trying to control them. And you're not caring. You may care. You say, technically, you kind of don't care. You care about your feelings more, which that might be triggering to you. You said, well, if somebody's making a bad choice and it's because I care about them. Technically, you don't. You care more about your feelings of them suffering. You're not saying that is their journey. That's what they're going to do. So in the end, you have to like care about what they want, what they feel. You can be there for them. And that's okay if you believe in heaven and hell and all that stuff. That's okay. But what's not okay is that when you have a belief that you push on and try to fight with someone else. And the whole reason I wanted to talk about extraterrestrials today, and the whole reason is because the whole hearing today was about trying to create fear. They didn't do that last time. The first hearing, they didn't try to do this fear thing. This time, so many times they kept bringing up, is this a threat? Yes, this is a threat. This is a threat. This is, it's dangerous. They did this and we don't know. And then they even said, listen to this nonsense that they said. You know that like balloon thing that was floating around somewhere? I don't know if it was in the States or something. It was a balloon thing. I remember hearing it on TikTok. There's a balloon that was floating around and they didn't do anything about it. They're like, oh, it's just like some sort of balloon, whatever. And then they're floating around. And then they said at one point they realized it was like the enemy or something and they had to shoot it down and whatever. And they said it was too late. The enemy got too much information. Right? That's a funny comment. Yeah, so they said that was too much information. So they brought this up in the hearing and they're like, we don't need to wait till it's too late to take down the extraterrestrials. Like, we don't need to wait till it's too late. Like, we have to be proactive and not reactive. And I was like, what are you going to do? They have advanced systems. I hope, this is my hope. First of all, people don't give a shit now that the aliens are there. You know why people don't care that aliens just showed up? People don't give a shit now. They're like, oh, aliens, that's nice, that's great. Are the aliens going to pay my bills? Are the aliens going to come and help me pick up my kids from daycare while I go to work? Because that's what we need right now. Are they going to help us pay for food, for rent? That's kind of like what people are worried about right now. So, and not just that, people kind of already knew. They're like, yeah, there's something, but they're not here. So what can we do? Unless you and I are walking outside and there's these little extraterrestrials that are just like walking around us and they're like, what's up? Hey, how's it going? Hey, how you doing? Then we'd be like, wait a minute, you're not human. That's what I'm saying, because we always knew they existed. I didn't need the White House to tell me. That's kind of like what most of us feel. Not all of us, but most of us. So people are not really surprised. They're just like, yeah. But when they come out with these little AI robots that are telling us they're aliens, I'm telling you, I have a feeling something like this is going to happen. And Stephen Greer has a lot of videos talking about that. About disclosure, like fake invasions, like fake, some people said they were, what's it called? What is it when an alien comes and takes you? What the hell is the word? Abduction. When the alien comes to abduct, they said that there's been fake abductions. And this Stephen Greer said that. He's like, it's not aliens that come and abduct you. It's literally like military operations. And they come and they're just like guys dressed up in whatever and they drug you and you're like, I get probed by aliens. And they're like, Extraterrestrials are not going to do that. Maybe there's a type of, if it is extraterrestrial, that means they're very ego. That means there's extraterrestrials that are like humans. Maybe they're not far from Earth. Maybe they're on the moon, and that's why we can't seem to really go on the moon properly or get proper images of the moon. Or we landed on the moon, but we can't seem to get any pictures. Although we can zoom into space super far away and see. Right now, there are telescopes all around the world that could see two black holes colliding. Did you guys know that? There's about 27 scientists that have seen it with their eyes through the telescopes all around the world, Hawaii, in the States, all around, everywhere. In Australia, they saw the two black holes are colliding. Now, it's going to take like 100 million years to collide, but they can see it. They can see it now in our visible reality. But we can't get proper pictures of the moon. I'm like, maybe there's little aliens on there that are ego aliens like us. Who knows? I'm inventing stuff right now. Don't quote me on anything. If somebody makes a video, Tanya said that there were aliens on the moon that are like ego. No. I just... Yes. Oh, they talked about that. So they talked about dimensional beings in the Congress. Actually, I think I have the video of it. Maybe we can listen to it. Give me a second. I may have the video of them talking. Which one was it? Let's hear it.
He said that. I'm going to take you to specific instances around the Phoenix Valley, because that's where
ego alien.
I live.
No.
We know we audit the Pentagon every year.
Oh.
And I've been here 5 years and they failed.
I like him. You know what's funny? I don't like government people. But this guy is super pissed off. He's like, they're taking money for the aliens and these things, and the Pentagon can't even, like, it was like, he was super pissed. That was funny.
This is just those that you're currently working with. Is that correct? Can you expand on that?
Certainly. I'll break that down in two ways.
No, that's not him.
Americans for Safe Aerospace.
I'm not.
Was this documented in any official form, whether it was a police blog?
Guys, I'm not going to look through. I have at least 30 minutes of video, so I'm not going to look through anything. But I feel like it's this one.
Described.
Damn it. No, he just says there's something called, he says they're extra dimensional beings. That's why he doesn't call them aliens or extraterrestrials. Because he says that there's some beings that he believes that are not even, they're like in another dimension. They can come into this dimension, but there's like another physical reality that is around us that they're there. And I personally believe that extraterrestrials are not the only things. I started believing that there were aliens on Earth when I saw the movie. Damn it, what's the name of it? The Abyss. If you've never seen that movie, go watch it. I don't even know what year. The Abyss. What year did that come out? Who knows? 1980, 90? I was quite young when I was watching The Abyss. And it's like, because we can't go past a certain place. I'll tell you guys the beginning of the movie, kind of. It's like the concept, though. I'm not going to tell you the whole movie if you go see it, but I haven't seen The Arrival. Yeah. So you just talked about this? So we're like in sync. It was probably in the 80s. And it was these two guys who wanted to go into the abyss of the ocean. But we can't go into the abyss because we can explode. Like we have oxygen in our blood and we have oxygen in our lungs, and we would just collapse. Like the pressure in the water, we would collapse. So what happens is these two guys, they go into the water, and it's kind of like a thriller type movie that they go into the water, but they found a system that they could drink this water, or I forgot, I haven't seen it. I should watch it actually. And it goes into their body and they could breathe. It's a water that they can breathe through. So the water goes into their lungs and they're kind of like swimming around and doing all this stuff. And they could go into the abyss without like kind of exploding. And I don't really remember the full movie. I just remember that they meet this thing that comes it's like there's two waters in the ocean. But that actually was done in the 80s, and it's now been seen on TV. Like you can watch that. If you go 1989, thanks for looking it up. So if you go on YouTube, you can see that we have an ocean in our ocean. Like if you go down to the ocean, if you go down enough, there's another part of the ocean that is harder. It's not water. Like water are molecules that we can actually put our hands through water. Speaking of water, I'm kind of thirsty. Yeah. So we can put our hands, like you pour water and it goes through, but we cannot put our hands through walls and things like this unless you punch really hard. So what happens is there is something in the ocean for real. This is not in the movie, this is for real, but it is also in the movie that you can't put your hands through. It's like this harder substance of water. And yes, so if you watch the movie The Abyss, it does talk about aliens on Earth, like the extraterrestrials and things on Earth. And I believe, what are my sources? What do you mean? This is like common knowledge. You can look it up anywhere. Discovery Channel, all over the place. It's not, I'm not giving, I am very, when I invent shit, I tell you I invent shit. When I'm like, aliens are on the moon, ego aliens. Obviously that's not real. I'm just saying whatever. But there are facts. There are things that are facts, factual evidence things. I will completely tell you the truth. Sorry, I know, plastic water bottle. I know, I'm very aware. I thought about it too today. I was holding the bottle. I was like, very aware. I don't want to hear any judgy McJudgersons. Okay, Selena. I sense some judgment. I would ask you to self-reflect. I would ask you to go internally and self-reflect on why you feel like people are lying or feeling that way, deceiving or whatever it is. Just go in, because when you get triggered by someone, you're like, oh, you're lying, you're not telling the truth, where are you getting your facts, and it's from movies, and you're like, if you get like, you're bothered and you're like, what triggers you? That's why I was trying to tell. This is a whole video that every time somebody gets triggered on my life, I'm going to address it today. We're going to talk about every time somebody comes in, because I don't want to create that division in those fightings, because it's not about fighting. This is what the whole thing is about, just being self-aware. When you are upset, if you don't believe somebody or think somebody's lying or you think this or where, and if you're judging me and saying, where's she getting her fat? Does she know? And da-da-da-da like that. If you feel like you're judging me, instead of judging me or writing it in, think about what am I feeling? Before I judge Tanya, what am I feeling? Why do I feel the need to criticize or judge her or assume, to make an assumption? And this is something my mom used to say when I was little. I'm the blonde version of you. Well, technically, I'm like not really blonde. I am, but my mom used to say, don't assume, because you're making an ass out of you and me. Did any of your parents tell you that? My mom used to tell me that all the time, because that's how you, ASSUME is assume. You make an ass out of you and me. Don't assume. And I literally wrote a book about assumptions. Like when you assume shit about people, you assume people are lying to you or are deceiving or people are stupid or people are this. Anytime you make an assumption, that has nothing to do with me. That has to do with you. Yeah, oh, for those asking there, it's big stain here. Next time I'm going to make a book with like a, not a matte cover. I'm going to make it shiny because I had baby powder on, because I was putting baby powder in my hair today with a little bit of like, to give that volume. And then I just got the baby powder all over my book. Yeah, it's Mastering Self-Projection. I can't show you guys, I don't think, how to own your shit. And it's basically A to Z on everything. And it's on Amazon, if you're wondering. No, if you ask a question, that's okay. Asking a question is fine, but when I say yes and I answer your question and then that's a self-reflection. If you say, hey, where'd you get your source? Where'd you get? And then I tell you and you're like, really? Really? Is it not from movies? That's a judgment or an assumption. Maybe it's not a judgment, but it's an assumption. So that's when you kind of go, and you self-reflect. That's it. It's all it is. If you feel like, if you feel like, and I do that too. I do it too. I judge. Sometimes I'm really, really passive aggressive. I do it. It's fine. Yeah. So, aliens. What do you guys think about the alien stuff? I just like spend like, how long have I been live? Oh, I'm like, I talk too much, and I just had a memory of what I wanted to say. And we all know assumptions are the mother of all effects. You know what's crazy? And I've talked about this before, but I had an epiphany this week. I used to hate my voice, man. And I had a memory. And, that reminds me too. I'm coming out with a journal. And I'm getting the first version published of it because I tried to do something. Anyways, it's on Amazon and it's a self-healing journal, self-reflection, self-healing. Tom DeLonge has a new alien movie coming out and we all know. Oh, I want to watch that. Can't wait to meet them, but the real them, not the AI aliens. I appreciate you too. Yeah, I have to tell you, oh my God. I was watching my mom watch my video on Oprah, and it got like over 1 million views. And my mom goes, "Oh man, Tanya, your Oprah thing got 1 million views." I was like, "I know." I don't mind my videos getting millions. I have quite a few. I have over 10 videos that are like over 1 million, 2 million. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. That's cool, But then the Oprah one, I was like, uh-oh. Sometimes they get like 1,000 views, and there's some people, they don't even really view it. 1,000 views is not, because sometimes you could just play it in the background, right? So I'm listening to her. I was sitting beside her, and she's listening to my video, and I was like, and she's reading the comments, and she goes, yeah, I don't think she'll see it. I don't think Oprah goes on TikTok, but I think maybe the PR people might see it and stuff like that. But the PR people are probably not millionaires, and they're probably looking at my video going, yeah, Oprah. Anyways. Aliens is us from the future. Me too. Okay, Geronimo, I believe that. I made videos on YouTube about that. I strongly believe, not all aliens, but I think there is one race of aliens that is us in the future, that we are so much on our phones that we have these long ass fingers and our eyes are so big because we're looking at screens all the time. And everybody's gotten so much Botox that we all look the same. And then like thousands of years, there's aliens in the future. And we're just that's why they haven't interacted with us, because they're floating around and they're looking at us. And they're kind of like, and I used to say this theory in my 20s to like my friends, and they're like, what the fuck, Tanya? I was like, I swear it makes sense. Think about it. And they're like, yeah, okay, Tanya. And I was like, it could be. It could be. If somehow we find time travel and we come back, and that's why we're not interfering. And those are maybe the interdimensional beings. We're not interfering, and they're looking at us, and they're like, look at these. And then they come back, and it's like my ancestor. Like I'm her great grandmother infinity, like super old, and she comes to see me. And maybe when I meditate and I see because sometimes I meditate, I've told you guys, and I see like like different beings, and I see them in my meditations. Maybe it's like my great, or no, I'm her great. You know what I mean? I was like, could be. Could be. Don't quote me on this. This is not reality. There's no factual evidence to what I'm saying. That makes sense. They have small mouths because they use telepathy. And Botox and the lip fillers are not in anymore. Just Botox. Who knows? Sorry, aliens. I'm not making fun of you. If you're other dimensionals, I'm not making fun. I think they know. They telepathy know that I'm not making fun. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Yeah, I used to hate my voice. Isn't it funny? So if anybody needs to hear this, I think the thing that you dislike most about yourself could become, if you learn to work on your shadow, you can take the thing that you dislike about yourself and do something with it that could change things. Because I hated, that is the thing I hated. I spent a whole week in my 20s writing a journal about trying to like manifest me liking my voice. Because once I left the voicemail and I was like, what am I saying? I'm so stupid. Everything I say is so dumb. I say stupid things. I always make people mad at me with what I say. My voice sounds nasally and fucking obnoxious. I hated my voice. I hated everything. So I remember crying one day and I was learning about chakras and stuff like that. And I was holding my thing and I go, I just got to work on my throat chakra. This is really bad. I hate everything. I feel like I have no voice. When I do talk, I'm fucking annoying. Like I would say stuff like that. So for a whole week, I wrote affirmations of like, I want to love my voice. I want to be able to speak from source energy. That's a belief that I have, that like connected to source. But I want to be able to speak my truth. I want to be able to work on. And this, guys, how old am I? This was maybe over 15, 16 years ago that I felt like this, that I hated everything. And then I was watching my mom watch my TikTok video, and my mom's reading to me the comments, and the comments are saying, oh my God, you said this so well. What a great way to explain it. Blah, blah, blah. Like full of people. And my mom was saying that. She's like, Tanya, full of people wrote how well you explained it. Like it's, I hope Oprah sees this because it's well explained. Like people were saying that. And I went, what? And then I went, and I had the vision of me sitting in my tiny little apartment, so broke. We were like struggling. I was in debt with my daughter. My daughter was, I think at that point she was 2.5, 3 years old, maybe 3. No, because I moved out. So it was about close to 2 years old. And it's quite some time ago. So you could assume that her age now, although I'm not allowed to say. So I was sitting there and I'm like, and I remember crying about how much I hated it. And now I use it. And like, do you know what I mean, guys? Now people are like saying, like you guys, oh, I love your voice. It's soothing. So what you dislike most about yourself, if you do shadow work and you learn to love that part of yourself instead of saying, oh, I just have a bad voice, or love it, learn to like, or maybe not love it, but accept it, validate it. I guarantee some shit's going to come out with the thing that you dislike most about yourself. It's going to like, give it like, maybe not 16 years like me, maybe not a long time, but or give it like some years. Have patience, and then watch. Your life is going to go, oh shit, and you're going to use what you hated about yourself to your advantage. Like not to your advantage, but for good. Yeah, well, Nick. I think that the technology that Nikola Tesla, I think he probably got it from the extraterrestrials. Maybe he was an extraterrestrial, but I think they're way more advanced than that even. Yeah, so anything you want to delete about yourself, you want to erase from yourself, if you learn to love it, I'm telling you, man, it can change your life. Me too, I hated it. I have a picture. Do you guys want to see that? Oh, do I have it on my phone? I think I have it on my phone. That I'm on stage in front of like 400 people. I think I have it on my phone, but I don't want to look while... Hold on. I think it's one of the beginnings. I have a lot of pictures. Most of my cat. Where is it? I feel like it's right here. No. No, if I don't find it right away, then I'm not meant to show you guys right away. But I have a picture that I'm on stage with a couple of people, and I'm speaking in front of 400 people. I was like, and I went on stage a few times, like 3 times, and I was shaking like this. Like I had a paper and I was like, My hand was shaking, and I'm like, oh. And I was so frozen. I couldn't unsmile. Like I was like it was so fake. It was nerve wracking. I hated it. I hated it. There's so many inventions that have been forgotten. Yeah. Oh, somebody asked me before. That's a good question. I want to bring that up. Somebody said, wouldn't you like to be a millionaire? And of course I would. Of course I would. But recently things have changed for me. So I'm going to tell you guys a secret. I'll tell you guys a little secret. I told some of you a few months ago. So what did I do? This is the plan. I'm not going to tell you my plan, but I took my book and I wrapped it up and I went online. And this is a few months back. This is in June. And I wrapped it up and I send it in the mail, and I send about 5 or 6 copies to different people. One of the peoples being Oprah. You know, Oprah's book club. I was like, oh, if I send her my book, because my book is self-published, so it's hard for her to like see or anything. So I was like, if I send it to her, she's going to see it. And then, and then I'm in the book club, and who knows what can happen. I go, you know what? Worst case scenario, I lose some money that she never sees my book, whatever. Not the end of the world. So I threw that out there in the universe. And then all this shit went down with Oprah, and I was like, So I was talking with my mom and dad this week, and my dad goes, my dad's little ego-ness, he's like, if Oprah ever calls you about your book, you take that opportunity. You take that. You can make millions. You can help you've struggled in your life. So this is his point of view. He's like, Tanya, you've struggled in your life. We've been so poor. You've this, that. You did so much for everybody else. You don't get paid on stupid Canada doesn't pay. TikTok creators, you get no money for it's nothing on social media. He's like, take this, take it. And I was like, no, I wouldn't do it. And he's like, what? I'm like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. He's like, really? And I go, I know it's fucked up to say this, but I understand Dave Chappelle. When Dave Chappelle walked away from like millions of dollars? And I was like, I don't think I could do that, because that would be kind of, how do I feel? It's not like, I'm against Oprah. Blah. It's not that. It's that, yes, I want money. I want more money, because I want to be in a position, because I've never, for those of you who don't know, I never really traveled. The traveling I've done is one time I went to Cuba because my mom paid for my sister and I. We went to Cuba. Another time I went on a vacation with, I told you guys I had a very rich millionaire friend who was like, hey, I'm going to take you on vacation. I'm like, no, way. Yes, please. Took me a couple of weeks to say, okay, fine. So not selling my soul. I thought of that word, but it's not selling my soul, because I don't think you could sell your soul. Like, maybe you can, but I'm very connected to my soul. I don't think that there's no sale for that, but it's hard to explain. I've always wanted to travel. I almost want to see different parts of the world. I want to see the cultures. I want to see things. I don't want to just, I'm like a Canadian. I'm like, and yeah, it's great. It's beautiful here, but it would be nice. That would be nice. It takes more money to do that. And going against my own beliefs, not really, because I do go already against my own beliefs. So it's not against my beliefs. I think what it is, this is how I see it, is that I see that Oprah felt like the way Oprah is hurting people. Okay? And she is. It's hurtful what she's doing to a lot of people. And it's the hurtfulness, I'll tell you what it is. At first, she didn't really hurt people. When she says, hey guys, I want some money, give me your money. I'm saying it in a different way than she said it. Give me your money and I'm going to pay the Maui people. That's what I want. Then people who are poor are like, dude, don't ask us for money. That's what first happened. People were kind of like, why a billionaire asking us for money? That's weird. People were triggered, but they weren't hurt. I'm sure she hurt some people in Maui and things like that. We don't know the full story of that. I'm pretty sure of that. But we weren't hurt. We were like we call butt hurt. We were like, don't ask us for money. We're fucking broke. What are you doing? Like, you have more money than any, all of us combined. You have more money than all of us combined. All of us combined can't even make the millions you have, the billions you have. What are you doing? So we kind of like laughed at it, joked at it. But when she came back and gave her a response, what she did was shame the fuck out of so many of people. She was like, well, I'm happy. There's so many unhappy people in the world. And I was like, I made a video of Oprah. I am very happy in my life. I'm actually very peaceful in my day-to-day life. I talk about it. I'm not like excessively overjoyed happy. There are things that, yeah, I would change and everything. But I go, on a general basis, I have a lot of love in my life. I have a lot of compassion, and I have disagreements with people, but then I feel good about things. And it's not necessarily sellout, but it could be seen as sellout, but it's not necessarily sellout is the word. I think to me, I saw that she hurt people and she invalidated people. And my journey online is about self-validation. Every video I make is about self-love, self-validation, unity, self-love, self-validation, unity, self-love, no matter what I talk about, even in my book, is self-love, self-validation. I do time travel reparenting in my book. I do self-projection. It's to find self-love and self-validation. And what she did was saying that she doesn't give a shit about us. And she invalidated people's feelings by saying they're unhappy, they're negative, they're haters, basically. What? And imagine if I go and she says, hey, Tanya, you want to put your book? First of all, my book would tank. Nobody would buy my book if I went to Oprah's book club. And the people who would buy my book are not people that would actually benefit from my book. They would be looking at my book and be like, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't do that. I was like, no, I couldn't. And then I thought about it. I'm like, think about that. If you're in a situation where you could use some money to do certain things to help people and to do that, and then somebody takes millions of dollars and says, hey, would you like this? And you're like, and you know it can change your life. I think I don't want to be like Oprah. And I think Oprah being friends with Epstein, I know that some people believe that Oprah did some fucked up shit. Do you know what I believe? I don't know if she did. I don't have proof that Oprah did some fucked up shit, but she definitely did this. Which means Epstein did his shit and she just went, I'm going to look this way. Oh, look at that wall. Wow. She must have looked away very often to get to where she is. She must have dismissed people's feelings. You can't become a billionaire without hurting people. You cannot become a billionaire without using people, benefiting from people who don't know they're being benefited from. Like my fiance is working in a company who has a billionaire boss, and they're all struggling financially, a lot of people, and they're cutting people. They cut 1,000 people in the company. Why? Oh, because AI is helping. Why? But now his boss is going to be even fucking richer because he's cutting. Why are you cutting people? I said, his boss, I think it's like 4 billion, 5 billion, something like that. So imagine, he's like billionaire, 5 billion, very big boss, not just the CEO, the big boss. I'm like, imagine if he takes 500,000 or even $1 billion of his 5. So now he's still a billionaire. He has $4 billion, and he takes that, he puts it in his company, and he starts paying people a little better, and he doesn't cut people. I'm like, so to become a billionaire, you have to hurt people on the way. And I was like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to hurt. I would rather, now I don't want to give that scenario, but I would rather, you know what? What's his name? He says this. So I'm quoting, what's his name? I forgot his name. It's a guy. I'm gonna remember his name in a second. He says, I would rather be happy in a Toyota Corolla than be miserable in a Bentley or in a Bugatti. Like some people are like, do you have a Bugatti? Do you have a this? I would rather be happy and peaceful in my Toyota Corolla than be miserable and disconnected in a Bugatti. And I know that you don't have to go super extreme. Like you can be happy in a Bugatti and you could be miserable in a thing. Because a lot of people are miserable in their Corollas. It's possible too. But I realize that because I have inner peace now and I'm happy. And look at this. How can you not have it? Right, Miko? Yeah. He talks to me all like how imagine, right? How can you not be like this is what I have. This is happiness in my life. I wake up in the morning and I have I have 2 dogs and a cat. One dog sleeps with my daughter. Oh, he wants to drink my. One dog sleeps with my daughter. The other dog, he has a diaper and he's old, dementia, and he sleeps. And then Miko sleeps with me. And Miko sleeps right by my neck every night. He comes down, and he comes down the stairs. I hear his little tick, 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 and then he just, like, how? And what? All of a sudden, I'm gonna, oh yeah, millionaire, this, that, because of my book. And then, no, I don't want to associate with people that hurt other people. That's what it is. That's it. So I filtered it out. I was trying to figure out what I was feeling. I don't want to associate. Now, if I have a friend currently or a family member that is hurting other people and I don't know it, that sucks. But if I find out, I will not support them. I will not be like Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher supporting just giving an example. I will not support people who hurt other people. I want to disconnect from that. It's what it is. Being rich has very little to do with money. Ooh, I love that. That's a good reminder. Many millionaires have NPD, really? I heard about them. Heard about who? What did I say? I don't remember what I was saying. What's NPD? NPD is narcissistic personality disorder? Is that a fact? Or is that a projection? Because if it's not a projection, it could be an assumption. Could be an assumption. Because I knew a few millionaires that did not have... some people can have traits. I know some really poor people that have NPD. I thought when you wrote NPD... I was like, I think that's what it is. But I was like, maybe it's something else that I know. Is that a political party? No. It's not all obvious. Yeah, but we also can't make... That's what I was trying to talk about, is that we can't make assumptions. Can't make assumptions. If something comes out as a diagnosis to be factual, I have a whole... Here, let's read about that. I'm going to show you guys. I'll read a little part of my book about the difference between fact and self-projection, because a lot of people get really triggered and they're like, hold on, I don't know what chapter it is. Let's look at this. 40. Okay. Let's define fact. A fact is a statement that can be proven or verified to be true based on an objective evidence, research, observation, or measurement. That's a fact. Facts are not influenced by personal belief, opinions, biases, but are instead grounded in objective reality. Now I give examples of facts, but I actually talk about narcissists in here. Okay. Yeah, so I said, I give it an example. For example, the fact that Mount Everest is the tallest mountain in the world is an objective truth that can be verified through scientific observation. However, whether someone likes me or not is a matter of personal opinion that cannot be proven true or false. Similarly, a judgment about someone's character or behavior is subjective and based on personal values, beliefs, whereas factual statements about a person's actions or achievements can be verified through evidence. Self-projections have to do with the feelings behind what you're saying. More often than not, we express emotions when judging or forming an opinion. Sometimes when I form an opinion about someone, it may seem like I'm right. For example, if I think a person is annoying and many people have the same opinions as me, just because others agree, it still doesn't make it a fact. And that a lot of people will be like, yeah. We're like, there's like 10 people in the room, 9 people agree. Just because 9 people agree, it still doesn't make it fact. Popularity and emotions don't mean factual. The feeling is still coming from my mind. Emotional self-projections are constant, whether we feel they are right or not. Interpretation of fact is also not true, which is a lot of people will say, I've heard this a lot about, I don't talk about religion like that in my book, but a lot of people will say, how can you prove there's a God? And people are like, well, the Bible. I'm like, the Bible is not fact. The Bible is an interpretation of facts. So people wrote things down, or interpretation of information. So people wrote down information and then people interpreted, but that still doesn't make it factual. So I gave an example here. A man is seen walking out of a store with a television. The interpretation is the man was stealing the television, while the fact in this example is that the man was seen walking out of a store with a television. The interpretation of fact is that the man was stealing. However, it is possible that the man had purchased it legally and was simply carrying it out of the store. Therefore, the interpretation is not necessarily a fact, but rather a subjective understanding of the situation based on the information. And then this is the important part I wanted to read to you guys, because this is where I used to say, how this is a subject in self-projection. I was like, I don't understand. How can you tell the difference between fact and self-projection? Because facts can change. And I said facts can change. For example, the idea that atoms were a dense matter was a wildly held belief in the early 20th century. However, in 1911, Ernest Rutherford and his colleagues conducted the gold foil experiment, which demonstrated that atoms were not a dense matter and were mostly empty space with a very small dense nucleus at the center. So we were like thinking, oh, atoms were dense. That's how we used to believe. And then all of a sudden we're like, hey, new evidence. The facts about atoms changed, but without emotion and with new verified information. So as we become more evolved as human beings, we will find more tools to look at this information and to verify, and we could evolve and say, wait a minute, this may not be fact. What we believed before is not fact. Maybe new verifiable evidence proves it to be factual. So if you guys want to know if you're assuming, so let's say you say that billionaires are all mostly NPD. They mostly have narcissistic personality disorder. I don't believe there's any factual, unless you have a paper or many people that are billionaires are diagnosed. Not really. It's hard to see. And I talk about that here. So you have to ask yourself, what am I feeling? Okay. So hold on here. Okay. I'll give you guys. You want to know if you're assuming or not? Here. Fact. My neighbor lost their job last year and hasn't been working. The emotional self-projection is my neighbor is a loser because he doesn't have a job. So if ever you say, oh, they're a loser, they don't have a job, they can't get a job. That's a self-projection. Maybe a part of you thinks yourself is a loser sometimes. Maybe you judge yourself, or maybe you think that you're not as successful as you want to be. Therefore, you judge people that are not successful. So there's a self-projection coming from that. So but the fact is just the neighbor lost the job. Fact, my neighbor's child plays soccer with my child. Presumption, self-projection. My neighbor probably likes sports because he put his kid in sports and I like sports. So you're assuming, again, like I said about the vaccines and about the things, if you assume people should be like you, if you see someone, your neighbor, and you assume they're like, oh, they're like me and this and that, you're a presumption self-projecting, and you get triggered if they disagree with you. Fact, my neighbor doesn't have his driver's license. Knowledge, my neighbor should know how to drive. It's so easy. That's called a knowledge self-projection. You think other people know what you know. You're like, they should know this. It's easy. You should just know how to do this. And I find that online, I see a lot of people saying, I just don't like stupid people. That is called a knowledge self-projection. Part of you may feel stupid sometimes, but you're projecting it on others and you think that they should know what you know. You're like, I think everybody should just know those things. It's logical. And it's frustrating. I know I'm somebody who's very self-aware when somebody's not self-aware. I'm like, So I knowledge self-project. I do it. We all do it. These are all things that we all do. I'm very aware of it. And that's what I say in the book. It's not about being perfect. It's about being aware. Now, there's something called absolve self-projection. And that is when you said, my neighbor raised his voice at his wife. And then you say, my neighbor is an abuser. Verifying facts is important, especially for the absolve self-projection type, because strong assumptions or strong accusations without facts can be damaging to people. So if you give out and you're like, hey, this is just, you're self-projecting. And there's, I don't know where I wrote it. I have a whole section about, I don't know where it is. I thought it was here. I have a whole space where I talk about self-projecting narcissism on people. When you say people are a narcissist, there could be, you have to look at the 4 types. So if you think people are narcissists, you could be self-projecting 4 different kinds of ways. Some people absolve self-project. Some people are like, hey, they're a narcissist, but actually they're the narcissist. It's not, that's called an absolve self-projection. You're absolving yourself of being a narcissist and you think everybody's a narcissist. There's different types. There's some people that are emotional self-projection. No, wait. I don't understand the conversation that's happening now. What? I don't, hold on. I'm trying to find I'm trying to remember where the narcissist thing came in. Where did I put it? Narcissist. I didn't write it in the thing. Are we to blame? I do have a whole part about narcissists, and I go in detail about how to figure out when you think other people are narcissists, what are you self-projecting? Let me check in my ebook. Oh yeah, you can write in a word, huh? On your ebook, you can type in the word like narcissist, and then it'll pop up where it says it. Because that's I actually address it, and it's funny because when I hired my, what's her name? When I hired my editor, I did a first round of editing with her, and she got very triggered with me talking about self-projecting narcissism. But then she said, but not everybody thinks people are narcissists. You shouldn't talk about that and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, everybody talks about toxicity and narcissists all the time. I'll find it. I'll read that part for you guys, but self-projection and triggers, when you get triggered from being a narcissist. I was raised by a narcissistic mother. That's the reason I became a therapist. You know what? I was talking about that with my daughter, and I realized, page 67. Oh, you found, that was fast. 67 is a quote on here. Hold on. No, not on here. It's different, I think. Yeah, I was talking. I don't have it here. No, it's not on 67. Gaslighting. I talk about gaslighting. No. Okay. What was I going to say? Yeah. My daughter told me, she goes, Mom, I want to be a doctor. 126. Wow, you guys are on the ball. Thank you. Yeah, my mom and my daughter goes, I want to be a doctor. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that my, no, it's not 126. Yeah, I was sick for most of my daughter's childhood. Like very, very sick. And she had to kind of like not take care of me, but you know, if ever I had water, a hot pack, anything. My daughter saw me sick and she wants to be a doctor. And I was like, I had a parent who showed narcissistic traits, who's not a diagnosed narcissistic, but shows narcissistic traits. I had an alcoholic parent, drug addict parent. I had a parent with a lot of trouble. I had a lot of traumas. And what do I want to do? I want to go into counseling and coaching and doing all that. And I also used to be a hairdresser. And I used to hate my physical body. I hated it. I used to shame my body. So I was like, if I become a hairdresser and a makeup artist, then I could like make myself feel better, make people feel better. And I find it funny sometimes when we follow our passion, it's sometimes it has to do with how we were raised. It's like we're going the way that like people will choose. And then my mom said to me that she was the oldest in her family of 10, and she used to take care of all the kids. And they would come home from school and she would like teach them stuff. My mom became a teacher. She became an educator. She started going into like, she studied in psychology, studying all this. And I was like, I find it crazy. It's based on our pain. Yes. It's like our pain and our, like both is crazy. How do I protect my energy from negative people? Is that it? No, that's not I have a whole chapter on that. That's not it. I can't find it, guys. Boundaries? No. Attracting versus allowing. Intuition. I really thought it was what am I projecting on the world? No way. Is it here? No, that's not it. Pain drives you to find solutions. I believe so. Damn it. I wish I would have found it right away. Oh! I found it. I found it. Okay, let's read this. All right, got it. It's page 79. Page 79. All right, got it. All right, I said self-projection and abuse. Let's address the most common question I get. If I see a narcissist, does that make me a narcissist? Let's self-reflect and get uncomfortable. If a trained professional has diagnosed an individual with narcissistic personality disorder following an assessment, then it is a fact that the person can be referred to as a narcissist. This analysis was not made with an emotional charge behind it. It was determined with verifiable evidence. It is also a fact that undiagnosed narcissism is common, and NPD can be difficult to identify, as individuals with this condition may not seek help or may be reluctant to acknowledge that they have a problem. Exactly. Well, there you go. You just wrote that at the same time I read that. They may also be skilled at hiding their true nature and present a charming and likable persona to the outside world. We discussed earlier facts versus self-projection. If you come to a conclusion without assumption and emotion and remained objective, it may be an undiagnosed narcissist. Again, I will repeat. If you say that you see a narcissist and you came to that conclusion without assuming, without emotion, and you remained objective, it may be possible that you correctly identified the behavior of an undiagnosed narcissist. The fact is that narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition that can be characterized by a grandiose sense of self-importance, a lack of empathy for others, and a need for excessive admiration, and a tendency to exploit and manipulate others for personal gain, which kind of does sound like some people, not all billionaires, but it does sound like a lot of people. So we got to think about that. if you're still not sure if you're self-projecting or not, let's work on this some more while using what we have learned so far. So, and then I said, if you don't relate to labeling narcissists, perhaps try exercising with another projected negative opinion you may have about someone. For instance, if you see a lot of manipulators or you see a lot of liars. So then I'm not going to go in detail because you can only do this exercise when you read, like, this is like more than, actually it's half my book. So you have to kind of like know first the exact way of self-projection. You have to recognize the 4 types, which is emotional self-projections, which are constant. There's absolve self-projections, which are what you feel about others, you're absolving yourself. There's knowledge self-projections and presumption 4 types. So then you go into the 4 types of self-projection, and I do that. Then you ask yourself, so my whole book is basically just asking yourself questions. And I even say, like in every part of every time you have an exercise, I tell people, I'm like, it's not about like trying to fix yourself and say, oh no, I can't self-project anymore. I can't do this. It's just awareness of saying like, okay, next time you do judge someone, or you're just like, you look at someone, you're like, you're a narcissist, and you're assuming and you don't really know them. You could just be like, whatever, you know, like, oh, maybe I'm self-projecting. Let me self-reflect. And when you start self-reflecting, again, like I said before, you learn to like unite yourself. You're not going to get mad at people anymore. You're not going to get triggered with people anymore. And you're not going to let the people try to control you. The people that in the powers that may be to control you. And you're going to live in a lot more inner peace when you have awareness. At first, though, I'm going to be honest, when you first become self-aware, you start being very self-critical. You're like, oh my God. That's why people don't want to be self-aware. Because then you think you're a bad person. You're like, oh man, am I self-projecting? This is me. Oh my God, you think I'm a bad, but it's not that you're a bad person. That's why I'm very deep in my book. I go in detail about showing that you're not a bad person and to do the shadow work. Yeah. And I'll end this thing with saying, being online, I've noticed a rise in the word toxic. Many people are using these words when they're hurt by someone else's actions and words or lack of actions and words. It is important when we do self-reflection work, we become mindful of the words we use towards ourselves and others. Just a reminder, because I've been called toxic and it's not a good feeling. Just because I was disagreeing with someone, I was like, oh, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's true. Oh my God, you're toxic. And I was like, self-projection. Yeah. So on that note, I apologize again for not being able to go live on YouTube. I am going to try to upload this live to YouTube. I'm not sure if I can do it because I'm live on a different phone. This is my phone. This is my regular phone. I'm not, here, I'll hide this is my nephew. My daughter's doesn't want me to show her. There, you can see this part of my daughter. She doesn't want me to show her face. Oh, good news. My daughter told me yesterday, she's like, I want to do a reveal. I was like, what? She's like, you know how nobody's allowed to know me and know anything? She goes, one day we're going to do a reveal and we're going to do a TikTok together. I was like, really? You sure it's not crossing your boundaries? She's like, no, I feel like I'm ready soon. Just like you can talk about me. And I was like, oh, okay then. Yeah. Thank you. Tribal Angel. Thank you. I kept reading your name as Triba Langi. I was like, Triba Langi? I wasn't reading the L, like I was like, Triba Langi. Tribal Angel. Makes more sense. I feel like that's a better name than Triba Langi. Thanks, Triba Langi. Sheila. That's better. All right, guys. Thank you for joining this live and talking about aliens and stuff. Just don't go into the fear and try to self-reflect if you can. And my book is available on Amazon. All right, guys. Love you guys. And have a great weekend. Okay, bye.